Hello everyone. I am in my kitchen and I wanted to just do this little impromptu Facebook Live because I just got off of an incredible group coaching session with my amazing girls who are in my program, and oh my God, it was profound healing that was going on today, and I just want to come in here and just share a little bit about what is coming forward for me and what came forward for some of the girls today in our group coaching session. I always like to introduce myself because I know there's so many new parents coming into this group every single day. Facebook group, that's what it's called here. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Brianna, and I am the founder of this group, and I help teen girls and young women end their depression, end their anxiety, end their self-loathing, end their suicidal thoughts, end their cutting, so that they can step into their power, their confidence, and truly love themselves from the inside out. Now, it's really interesting. I titled this Facebook Live, what your daughter beating herself up over, God knows what she's beating herself up over, and what that has to do with her anxiety and her depression and the suicidal thoughts and the cutting and the self-loathing, like all of it. It all comes together. Most girls are so used to beating themselves up over the mistakes that they have made in their lives, okay? Not just mistakes, they beat themselves up over trauma that has happened that they haven't been able to forgive themselves for. They think it's their fault. They put so much blame on themselves, and not just blame. They put shame on themselves as well. So we've got blame, we've got shame, we've got guilt, and self-loathing. There's maybe some other things in there too, but it's all inside of your daughter. And so what this is, it becomes like a perfect storm. By the way, if you're joining me live, let me know that you are here live by just typing in live in the comments below. If you are joining the replay, that's great too. Just go ahead and type in replay so I know I'm not giving a monologue, and I know that there are people that are watching this. Thank you. Anyways, so most girls are struggling with so much. Hey, Selena, nice to see that you're here. Are struggling with so much that they have that's just stuck inside of them. So what happens when your daughter is living with that amount of shame and that amount of guilt and that amount of blame? Oh, awesome. Hi, Portia. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Portia. What happens when your daughter is living with that amount of self-loathing and guilt and shame and blame and all of the things, and she's beating herself up every single day? This is what is the perfect storm when we're talking about depression and anxiety and all of the things that come with it. Suicidal thoughts, eating disorders, cutting, all of it. And I led such, oh my God, I wish you guys could all have been there. I led such a beautiful healing session in today's group coaching session that I led with my beautiful girls that are in my program. And there were girls that were crying. There were girls that were just letting so much out. I had girls like getting angry because what happens when we do the healing work, so much stuff comes to the surface. Because why? We want it to come to the surface because we want to get it out. Because what happens with so many girls is this. It's not coming out, it's staying inside of them. And so what happens is most girls are struggling with so many different things that have happened in their lives, and they don't know how to, they don't know how to process through what they're going through. They don't know how to process through painful experiences. They don't know how to process through their trauma. They don't know how to process through a bad breakup. They don't know how to process through a friend who turns mean on them. They don't know how to process through difficulties in life because they lack that resiliency that is needed to thrive in life. And when your daughter doesn't have that resiliency and she doesn't know what to do when life gets hard, then life is going to continue to get hard for her, and all she knows how to do is to stuff down. Now, stuffing down feelings and emotions, it just creates what I call the perfect storm, because you stuff down more shame, and you stuff down guilt, and you stuff down blame, and you stuff down anger, and you stuff down sadness, and you stuff down your trauma so much that your daughter is going to feel like she's going to explode. Literally, she's going to feel like she's going to explode. No wonder so many girls are having panic attacks. They are literally exploding from all of the stuff that they have stuck inside of them. So many girls are suicidal, not because they want to die. They don't know how to deal with the shit that's going on inside of them because they've stuffed down so much sadness, anger, grief, shame, blame, guilt. And it's like it's boiling up to the surface. And they haven't been taught the tools and the skills and the resiliency, how to get through it, how to look at this in a different kind of way, how to shift their perspective on themselves, on life, and all of it. And so what happens, they're at a loss. More and more girls are going to extreme measures of getting rid of that pain. They think getting rid of the pain is to go to the cutting. They think getting rid of the pain is to just die so they don't have to deal with the pain. But that's not the way. Going to the eating disorders because they just don't know another way to get through life. Not the way. There is another way. There is another approach. But we have to look at this differently, and we have to stop, labeling these girls' issues and struggles, and we call them mentally ill, and we throw them in the psych wards and the psych hospitals, and we medicate them, and they still haven't learned any of the tools and the skills, and they certainly don't know how to love themselves. They've never learned that, and they continue beating themselves up day after day, week after week, month after month. Then nothing is changing. I have so many parents reaching out to me every single day, and they're at a loss because their daughters are, getting worse and worse with the anxiety, getting worse and worse with the depression. But it doesn't stop there. Now it's going to cutting. Now it's going to suicidal thoughts. Now it's going to suicidal. And it's just creating the worst possible issues for these girls, but not only for the girls, it's affecting the whole entire family. I don't know how many parents that I've had telling me that their marriage is suffering because their daughter is suffering, because that creates a lot of tension. That creates a lot of hostility and toxicity in the marriage, in the whole relationship, in the family dynamics, right? And then you're not seeing eye to eye with your spouse, and it's creating a lot of issues. So it's not just something that we need to fix this because your daughter is struggling. Yeah, we need to fix this because your daughter is struggling, but we need to also help your daughter because it's affecting the whole family unit. How can it not? How can it not affect the whole family when your daughter is suicidal, when your daughter is cutting up her legs and her arms because she doesn't know how to process her pain in a healthy way? Of course, it's going to affect everything. She's going to lose friendships. She's going to lose relationships. She's going to isolate herself. She's going to feel worse and worse, and she's going to sit in her bedroom and sleep all day, sleep her summer away, be on social media when she's not sleeping because she's got nothing else better to do with her time, just passing through time because there's nothing else going on because she hates her life so much, but she doesn't know what to do to get out of it. That's the shit that a lot of these girls are finding themselves in because nothing's working. I have so many parents reaching out to me saying, God, years after years, we've done so much therapy, so much of this, so much of that. Nothing is working. I'm like, there's something that works. I've got a program and it works, but it's not cookie cutter, and it's not the thing that you think it is going to be. A lot of parents ask me like, oh, is your group coaching, is it like group therapy? No, it's not. Because I don't do therapy. This is not therapy. And a lot of parents want, the name, the letters behind the name, because that gives you permission to trust the person that you're allowing your daughter to work with, right? So you continue doing the therapy because therapists have letters behind their name. But like myself, while I do have a master's degree in spiritual psychology, and I have helped hundreds of girls and young women transform their whole entire lives, there's parents out there that still are skeptical. Why? Because I'm not a therapist. Well, thank God for that. Thank God for that. I'm not putting a negative spin on therapy, but here's what I am saying. If therapy was working wonders for so many girls out there, why are so many girls struggling? Why are so many girls wanting to kill themselves every single day? If therapy was working, this would not be happening. Same thing with medication, right? So we have to look at another way. We have to look at another approach. What is it going to take? What is it going to take? So going back to what I was saying earlier about your daughter beating herself up every single day. Here's what happens. Your daughter goes through trauma. Your daughter goes through pain. Your daughter goes through some difficult times that you wouldn't wish on anyone. And your daughter has been through that. Here's what your daughter does. She creates a story. She creates a story about herself from the trauma, from the pain that she has been through. For example, let's say, heaven forbid, something happens and your daughter was sexually abused, or she's molested, or she's raped, or heaven forbid something like that happens, right? Your daughter creates a story and it goes something like this. I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. This would have never happened to me if I was more of blank, right? I guess I deserve this. It was my fault. I cringe when I hear girls think that it was their fault when they were raped. I cringe and my heart just goes out to them when they feel like it was their fault that they were molested. Absolutely not. When they were sexually abused, thinking that it was their fault. Absolutely not. So what happens with these girls? They hold on to so much guilt and shame and blame. And they beat themselves up every single day. So the self-love that we want your daughter to have, she doesn't know the first thing to do to get there. She doesn't know the first thing to do to get there. Because she's struggling in her unworthiness and unforgiveness, and her sense of self has gone down because the trauma that she has been through and the pain that she has been through, she's tied a story to that. And the story has made her feel less valuable. The story has made her feel less worthy. The story has made your daughter feel less deserving of living a good life. Because she no longer feels like she deserves a good life, right? Because the trauma that has happened to your daughter creates so much suffering inside of her. And she doesn't know how to get out of it. She doesn't know how to escape it. She doesn't know how to use her mind in a positive way to start creating her best life. So what does she do? She falls back in how the mind operates. Now, this is really important. Our minds operate where the mind focuses on the negative. The mind focuses on the shit that's going on in our lives. It doesn't focus on the great things. We have to train the mind. Your daughter has to train her mind to focus on what's good in her life. Your daughter has to learn how to train her mind to focus on how deserving, how enough, how worthy she really is. There needs to be some training around that. There needs to be some practice around that. That doesn't happen overnight. That's not going to happen by reading a self-help book. That's not going to happen by watching even one Facebook Live. Information. So here's the deal that I want to say. A lot of people out there have a lot of information in here. Your daughter may have information in here. Information doesn't create transformation. It doesn't. It doesn't. So your daughter, you may know some of this, right? And you try to tell your daughter this and she doesn't want to hear it from you. Of course, you're the mom, too close to home, right? Even if your daughter did know some of this, which if she's struggling, she doesn't know this stuff, right? But even if she did, information, again, does not create transformation. Oh my God, I'm getting so many people. Of course, my phone is quiet, and then all of a sudden, when I do a Facebook Live, everyone's texting me. So what is it going to take for your daughter to have a transformation? A couple things need to happen. One, your daughter has to stop beating herself up. That's a given. That's a given. How does your daughter meet herself with love and compassion? How does that happen? How does that work? Well, in order for your daughter to do that, she has to do the healing work. Part of the healing work is letting go of everything that she has told herself about herself that is a flat out lie. Let me repeat myself. Your daughter has to let go of all of the lies that she has been telling herself up until now. What are those lies? Well, here we go. Let me give you some. I'm a waste of space. That's a lie that your daughter may be telling herself. I don't deserve good things in life. That is a lie that your daughter may be telling herself. I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. My life has no meaning. People don't like me. I'm fat. I'm ugly. Those are all lies. Now, here's the deal. When your daughter believes the lies, what kind of life what kind of life is your daughter creating for herself when she believes the lies? Did you see the word that I used saying creating? Your daughter is creating her own suffering. I know we don't want to think that, and your daughter doesn't actually want to think that because she doesn't actually want to have to take responsibility for where she is in her life. But she's going to have to start to take responsibility for where she is if she wants to change her life, right? So your daughter is creating her own suffering based on her beliefs and based on what she is thinking about herself every single day. Most girls, on average, are having thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts every single day that are berating themselves, that are putting themselves down, that are making themselves feel like shit. And our beliefs create our reality. So what do you think that's doing to your daughter day in and day out when she says to herself, I don't deserve to be here. I hate myself. I'm ugly. I'm unworthy. Nobody likes me. What does that do not only to your daughter's self-esteem? Let's go beyond the self-esteem. What does that do to your daughter's life? What does that do to the trajectory of your daughter's whole entire life when day in and day out, she is telling herself what a shitty person she is? What does that do to her? It's not doing anything good, I'll tell you that right now. But it's creating a lot of suffering. This is the thing that girls don't want to believe, that they are creating their own suffering. And a lot of parents don't want to believe that too, because that can be triggering. Oh my God, my daughter is creating her own suffering? Absolutely. Absolutely she is. Our beliefs are that powerful. Your daughter's beliefs can create a whole new trajectory, or it can keep her in her suffering. She gets to choose. Unfortunately, they don't teach this in school. Your daughter will never learn this in high school or middle school or college. They don't have classes that teach your daughter how powerful her beliefs really are. But this is what I teach girls and young women every single day. And this right here is one of the biggest reasons that girls who work with me are having massive transformations and have had massive transformations, because I've been doing this for years. My program has a track record of success. We know what we're doing. Because it's not that hard for your daughter to change her life. Your daughter's not going to be able to do it alone. And she's not going to be able to do it in inpatient. She's not going to be able to do it with therapy if therapy has already proven to not work. So we have to look at what you are doing to help your daughter, and is it even working? No shame, no blame. If you've tried all the things and it's not working, you don't have to go there and blame yourself for that. You're not to blame. You're trying all of the things. It's not your fault. But what I will say is this: when there is a new way, and you're like, this is making sense, but we can get in our own ways, and you can get in your own ways perhaps with getting your daughter the help that she needs. Because again, we make excuses, we create stories. Oh my God, Brianna's not a therapist. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Okay, that's a good one. Well, this is different. This is not what the doctor recommends. Okay, you can go with that one too. Well, I've never heard about this. Let's just go mainstream, cookie cutter. Okay, you can go with that one too. But what is it really going to take? I know I work with so many girls, and so much of this work is helping these girls get out of their own ways, but I have to say it. A lot of parents need to get out of their own ways too. And I don't mean any, no offense with any of this. And this does not come from a judgmental place. I'm not here judging. I'm just here stating the facts. A lot of parents think that they know best for what is going to help their daughters. And it's like, okay, but I know a lot of parents have already sent their daughters down the road of inpatient. Inpatient can be extremely traumatizing. You do not want to send your daughter to an inpatient facility unless that is your last resort. A lot of people who are sending their daughters to residential, your daughter, you have to pack up and move your daughter for like 3 months to go to residential. Is that even working? I've had so many girls come into my program after residential because they're still not loving themselves. So is all of that working? Yeah, they're working with therapists. They're working with the doctors. Do the doctors know how to end anxiety and depression? Or do they know how to medicate it? Do they know how to numb it? This is what we need to be asking ourselves. This is what we need to be asking girls who are suicidal, not, oh my God, you're mentally ill. What is wrong with you? What's wrong with your head? No. Let's have a different conversation. Let's have a conversation of what happened to you. What happened to you that made you feel this way about yourself? What happened to you that made you hate yourself? That is an entirely different conversation. Then you're broken and you need to get fixed. Your daughter's not broken. There's nothing wrong with this. But this is where she needs to come into her heart. And so many girls are living a life where they're stuck in their egos and they don't know how to get back into their heart. They're so disconnected with who they are. They're disconnected with their emotions. They're disconnected with their feelings. They're disconnected with life. All because they're disconnected with themselves. How do you teach a girl to connect with herself? Well, you have to teach her the way to get back into her heart. That's what I do. That's what I do with the girls and young women that work with me. Get them back into their hearts. Get them to start feeling again, not numbing. Let's stop numbing these girls and let's get them to feel. I'm not against medication, but if you're going to try medication without actually doing the healing work, without getting your daughter to love herself, what are you doing? What are we doing here? Is your daughter here to hate herself? Is that why she's here? Or is your daughter to wake up to the truth of who she really is? That is the work. That is why each and every one of us are here. That is why I am here on this earth. First and foremost, I was here to wake myself up to my own divinity, to my own truth, to my own soul. And once I did that, I was not stopping. I knew it was my life's purpose to help other girls out of their suffering because they don't need to suffer like that anymore. It doesn't have to be that hard. But in order for your daughter to end the suffering, she has to learn how to get into her heart. That is it. When your daughter gets into her heart, you know what happens? Everything changes. The way she sees life changes. The way she connects with herself changes. The way the relationship that you have with her changes. Everything changes, but it starts with your daughter. And your daughter has to start taking responsibility of where she is at in her life. Most people don't want to take responsibility. It's easier to point the finger. That person did that shitty thing to me, therefore I'm broken. I went through that. I can't get over it. That person did that horrible thing to me. I can't move past it. Yes, you can. Yes, your daughter can move past it. But in order to move past it, we can't numb. Your daughter has to do the healing work. Here's the thing that I tell the girls that I work with. We don't minimize their trauma. I don't say to them, oh, poor you went through that. No. Every girl who has come to me that has suffered through some sort of trauma, we've all been through trauma, right? We don't minimize it. We don't say, hey, sweetie, Just get over it. You're fine. That's not how your daughter feels. So we're not going to minimize it, but we're not going to focus on it every single day. We're not going to focus on it every single week. What does that do for your daughter? What does that do for your daughter to focus on the pain? What does it do for your daughter to focus on the suffering? What does it do for your daughter to focus on all of the shit that has happened in her life? What does that do for her except keep her feeling like a victim? Victims never get empowered. They don't. There needs to be something that changes. And that change has to be your daughter taking responsibility. I've helped girls as young as 12 start taking responsibility for their lives. You don't have to be an adult to start taking responsibility for your life. It's easy to blame others. It's easy to blame the mean people in the world. It's easy to blame, oh, life has given me a hard, it's just, life has done this to me. That's easy, sure. But taking responsibility takes a whole new level of self-awareness. When your daughter takes responsibility for where she's at, everything changes. Because she can't point the finger at you. Oh, Mom, you're the reason I'm so messed up. Nope, she can't do that. Oh, Dad, you're the reason I'm so fucked up. Nope, she can't do that either. Oh, well, that bad thing that happened to me. Nope, can't do that either. Your daughter has to take responsibility for it all. I'm not saying that what's happened to her, hold on, here's what I want to say. I'm not saying that what has happened to her has been her fault. I'm not saying that. But right now, right here, your daughter has an opportunity. Your daughter has an opportunity, and you have an opportunity too. Because your daughter is not going to find out about a new way by just doing what she's doing. She's going to find out about a new way by you sharing. Hey, sweetie, I've been listening to this woman. What she says resonates. I think this would be good for you. Maybe we should check it out. It starts with a conversation. Your daughter's not going to go to you and be like, sure, this can happen from time to time, but it doesn't usually happen. Your daughter coming to you and being like, Mom, I need help. Get me the help. Rarely does that happen. It can happen once in a while, but usually it's not going to happen like that. Your daughter's not going to come to you, usually not, and say, gee, I'm really messed up. I need the help. Get me a therapist. Get me a coach. Get me someone. It doesn't usually happen. You have to be the person. You have to be looking at your daughter's life. You have to be the one that says, you know what? This is not working. This is tearing my daughter's life apart. It's tearing my life apart. Worrying about her day in and day out. Having sleepless nights. Not being able you're not being able to live your best life when you have a daughter that's suffering. How is that possible? How can you live your best life when your daughter is suicidal? How does that even happen? It doesn't. How do you live your best life when your daughter cuts herself every day? How do you live your best life when your daughter is full of anxiety and depression and won't get out of bed or is struggling with an eating disorder? How is it possible for you to live your very best life seeing your daughter struggle day in and day out? That's hard. That's really, really hard. I've been doing a lot of talking. I saw that there was a question earlier and I was talking so fast and I was moving through this that I didn't get a chance to read it. So I'm scrolling up. Jessica, I don't know if you're still, Jessica Coates says, how can I approach my daughter to let her know about your program? She will be 18 as right now we are not on speaking terms. Okay. So private message me for any parent who may be watching this. I do have resources that you can share with your daughters. I have a page that has a lot of testimonials from the girls that I've worked with that she can watch those. She's going to have to watch that. If you send it to her, she may not. I have another resource that I can send to you as well. So you can just private message me. And any parent who's watching this, if your daughter is very resistant to getting the help, here's what I want to say, and I'm going to wrap this up in a few minutes because I'm getting hungry and I want to go make dinner. Your daughter's resistance to getting the help is because she's getting something out of being stuck in her life. I know that is very triggering or maybe jarring to hear that, but it is true. What do I mean by that? Your daughter is getting something out of the suffering? Yeah, she is. I have so many parents that book calls with me every single day. I'm talking to parents and families and girls, and I'm speaking to a lot of families. And there are those girls that just don't want any part of this. And they're like, I don't need a program. I'm fine. Are you fine? You're suicidal every single day and you're fine? You're doing a strip tease on Snapchat to boys at school and you're fine? No, you're not. So it's like, what do we do with that? Right? So what is your daughter getting from suffering? Well, a couple things. I mean, your daughter can be getting attention. That's one way. This is all unconscious. She's not even aware of this. She can be getting attention from you. She can be getting love, right? When girls are stuck in their depression and their anxiety, they get a lot of love from that, from you, from other family members, right? And they think that that's like the healthy way to get love. Again, this is all unconscious. Your daughter's not aware of this. If you try to have a conversation with her about this, she's going to deny it tooth and nail. So it's not something that she's actually aware of, right? But she's getting something out of staying stuck. That's why I really, really honor like the girls who come into my program that truly want to get better, that want to feel better, that want to do the work. I know it's not easy to like say, yes, I want the help. And so I acknowledge like every single girl that gets there. That's like, yes, I'm sick and tired of my suffering. I want to feel better. I don't want to live a life like this anymore. And there's plenty of girls out there that feel that way. A lot of girls. So there's a lot of things that your daughter can be getting by staying stuck, but here's the truth. It's like, again, it comes back to your daughter taking responsibility. Your daughter has to learn how to take responsibility for where she is in her life if she's ever going to change her life. And that's why a lot of girls want to just do medication, because with medication, you're not taking responsibility. You're just hoping to fix it with a pill. And a lot of girls have horrible side effects from taking all those pills too. And it doesn't work for a lot of girls. And if it works for your daughter, then that's great, but it doesn't work for a lot of girls. So it's about, right, but going back to what I said, a lot of girls don't want to take responsibility of where they're at. So they'll go the easy route. Mom, put me on medication. Why? They won't say it to you. They don't actually want to do the work. And oftentimes in therapy, a lot of girls aren't actually doing the work. If they go to therapy week after week and they're just talking about their problems and they're not getting to the solutions and they're not focusing on self-love and they're not healing from their trauma, then what are they doing? What are they doing? Right? So we have to take a look at all of these things. So I can go on, but really, it really comes down to your daughter has to learn how to stop beating herself up and start learning how to love herself. When your daughter starts loving herself, literally everything will change for your daughter. It's not like it happens, and it happens so quickly. It's so amazing. So there were so many girls today on the group session, and they were crying and they were healing and they were just like shedding like all of these lies that no longer serve them. And it was so beautiful to witness. It was so beautiful to facilitate and see these girls really just letting go of those lies and stepping into the truth of who they really are. So if you would like more information, you definitely have to check out my masterclass. It's called Healing the New Medicine for Anxiety and Depression. I will leave that below. If you've already watched it or you watched this whole Facebook Live and you're like, I don't need to watch that, just give me the link to schedule a call with you, okay? I will leave that below as well. But if you haven't checked out my masterclass, I would first watch that. Because that's really, really amazing. And it talks about the 5 shifts that are needed for your daughter to truly end the anxiety and the depression. And one thing that I will say, it's like, I'm known as, an expert who works with girls and young women to help them overcome their mental health challenges. But here's what I want to say. It goes so much more beyond just that. We're not just ending depression here. We're not just ending anxiety. We're not just ending suicidal thoughts. We're getting your daughter back in here, back into her heart, back into her soul. We're getting your daughter to love herself. We're getting your daughter to heal. We're getting your daughter to have resiliency so that she can rise up regardless of whatever life is throwing her way or any challenge or obstacle that comes her way. That's more than just ending mental health challenges. That goes way beyond just that. So if you are looking for that, then I'll leave the links below for my masterclass and if you'd like to book a call with me. So with that, I'm going to take off. I love you guys so much, and I will come back soon and do another Facebook Live when I feel inspired to do one. Okay, bye for now, you guys.